Hi, good afternoon. Today I'm going to show you how I clean the pool. I've deliberately kept the cover, the bubble wrap cover on the pool now for last week because the weather's not been that great. First guest of the season arrived next week and I know the water has gone green. I haven't had a look at it yet, but I'm going to show you how I can get it crystal clear in just 24 hours. First thing, let's get the cover off. As you can see, the pool's a nice pea green, and I'm now going to show you how I can get it clean. The first stage is to net out all the larger debris before we start cleaning the pool itself. Now, although the pool filtration system has been running 24 hours a day, temperature is currently 28 degrees. Because the cover has been on the pool, it's acted like a greenhouse and the algae has just bloomed. The next stage after doing the general clean with a net is one of the key elements to get rid of the algae is to make sure that the filtration system is working at its maximum. So we need to make sure that all the filters are clean before we go on to the next step. Add in any chemicals. Okay, as you can see, the skimmer filtration is full up with fallen foliage. Even though the cover's been on, still loads has fallen into the swimming pool. So we need to get all this out and put in a new filter net. Okay, with a new net on the filtration, the rate of flow of water is going to increase, and this is going to aid in getting rid of the algae. Okay, both filter nets have been replaced. The next stage is to physically brush off all the algae from the walls and the bottom. I initially do this from outside the pool using an exterior brush, and then I'll actually get inside the pool and use a hand brush to get in every single nook and cranny to clear the algae off. Now all the algae's been brushed off the wall and the floor of the pool, it's all loose in the water. So before we put any chemicals in, it's a good idea, as I've got a sand filter, to clear out the final filter within that before doing a backwash, and then we'll add the chemicals. Okay, here we are at the heart of the filtration system, the sand filter. So the first part, turn it off and whip out the final filter stage and give that a good clean. As expected, because of all the needles from the big pine tree, they've still managed to get through the filter nets and it's absolutely full up. So we need to clean that out with fresh water. Okay, the pump filter's been cleaned. I'll now put it back, switch it all on, and then I'm going to backwash the filter to give it a good old flush out. Just run it for a couple of seconds, make sure everything's okay, and we can now do the backwash. Okay, so to summarise, the skimmer nets have been replaced and cleaned, the pump filter's been cleaned, and we've now backwashed the sand filter. So everything's clean now, which is going to create maximum flow rate for the swimming pool to get rid of all that dead algae. I've just tested the water, and the pH is spot on, 7.3. As expected, no chlorine at all. It was over 3 weeks ago that I put some chlorine in, and normally the chlorine lasts for about 2 weeks before it's back to zero and I re-put it in again. But as the pool hasn't been used over the last week, I've just left it, and to be honest, deliberately left it like this to get the algae growing so I can make this video. During the season, what I normally tend to do is to bounce the chlorine up and down, because what you tend to find is if you keep your pool totally chlorinated, a certain type of algae will flourish and it'll always be growing quite well. So what you do is you have your chlorine up high, and over a 2-week period drops down to zero, and then you bounce it back up again. The chlorine I tend to use purely to control the algae. What I use to kill the bacteria is something called HTH sticks, and that kills all the bacteria in the pool to basically make it healthy to swim in. Okay, now the situation is all the filters have been cleaned. That's the skimmers, the pump filter, and we've backwashed the sand filter. All the live algae has been brushed off the walls and the floor, and it's in suspension in the water now. So we're now going to add the chlorine, which is going to kill the algae. For this size pool, just the general maintenance dose would be 20 tablets of chlorine. I'm actually going to put 30 in today to give it a shock and to kill the algae outright. The final part is to add something called super flock. Basically, by adding one of these cartridges into the skimmer box, it works like a magnet, magnetising all the algae particles so they clump together. And what happens is that because you're making the smaller particles larger, they then get trapped in the sand filter. If you haven't got one of these in there, you may find that some of the particles are so small that they just circulate through the system and just keep going round and round, and the water stays cloudy. So by adding one of these, it's going to clump the algae together so it gets trapped in the sand filter, and then 12 hours later we'll backwash it and clear the whole system out again. And you'll be surprised, this time tomorrow, 24 hours later, the pool will be crystal clear. Okay, less than 24 hours later, the pool's crystal clear. I woke up this morning to find clumps of dead algae at the bottom of the pool, and I simply hoovered them all up, and now we have a pool that's algae free, crystal clear, ready to swim.